pronouns. What are they and how do we use them? Students, we use pronouns every day. They're not difficult. A pronoun is just a word that means those words that we use to replace nouns. So some examples of pronouns are he, she, they, me, my. All these words replace somebody's name or a thing in a sentence. Just like this sentence. It says, Benji went to the store. He needed to buy milk. So we use that word he, the pronoun he, to replace Benji's name. The next sentence says, it was on sale. So it refers to the milk. So this pronoun replaces the word milk. If we didn't use pronouns, if pronouns didn't exist, think how long our sentences would be. Instead of saying, Benji went to the store, he needed to buy milk, it was on sale, we would have to say, Benji went to the store. Benji needed to buy milk. Milk was on sale. And that would be too long and confusing. So we use pronouns to help us shorten things so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves and saying people's names or the name of the object over and over and over again. So today we're going to talk about a couple different types of pronouns. There are lots of different types of pronouns, and we're going to review them, but the most important thing is really understanding how to use them and how to use them correctly. So the first pronoun type we're going to talk about is subjective pronouns. Now, a subjective pronoun replaces the subject of the sentence. So the subject is the person or the thing that's doing the action. So let's look at the example here. It says, he hurried down the hall. He was late for breakfast. So this pronoun he is replacing someone's name. I don't know what his name is. It could be Jim, it could be Bob, it could be Jimmy Bob. Not sure what it is, but this is just replacing whatever that person's name is. So this is a subjective pronoun. Please note that you can take notes here in your study guide. In that little green tab on the side, there is a special place for you to take notes, and you can fill in the blanks. I left blanks for you to fill in. These are like guided notes. So it says subjective pronouns are used as the subject of a sentence. That's what you're going to want to write down right there. A person or a thing's, let's see, what does it say in the lesson? A person or a thing's name. So that highlight means that you can put that word name here. They include, so the subjective pronouns are I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Okay? All right, so the subjective pronoun is going to stand in for the subject. Now the objective pronoun is slightly different. So let's look at our notes. An objective pronoun is used in place of a object that is acted upon or receives the action. So you can fill in these gray spaces, person, place, or thing, acted, action, here in your notes. Person, place, or thing, acted, action. Go there. They include, what do they include? Objective pronouns include me, us, you, him, her, it, or them. So here are some examples. It says, Patsy got flowers and immediately put them in a vase. So does them refer back to Patsy? No, it doesn't. Them is a pronoun for the flowers. The flowers are being acted upon. They're being put in a vase. Patsy is not being acted upon. She's doing the action. So if we were to replace Patsy with she, that would be a subjective pronoun. She got flowers and immediately put them in a vase. Them is still objective and she is the subjective. How about this one? Joe is talking to her on the phone. Joe is doing the talking, so he's the subject. Her, we don't know what her name is. Maybe it's Patsy. Who knows? But she's the object. She's the one that something's being done to. Well, in this case, he's talking to her on the phone. Okay, there's another example there for you to see. I've got two more types of pronouns here. I've got a possessive pronoun and an intensive pronoun. So remember, you can take notes here in your study guide. So possessive pronouns, think about something you possess. It's something you own or you have and it's yours. So possessive pronouns show that something belongs to someone. Okay, so these pronouns are mine, yours, ours, hers, his, and theirs. So like the house is mine. The house is yours. The house is ours. The house is hers, his, and theirs. Okay, so anytime you see something that shows it belongs to somebody, then that's a possessive pronoun. And our last pronoun here that we're going to talk about today, there are more, but these are just the ones we're talking about today, is an intensive pronoun. Intensive. So intensive pronouns don't come up that often. They're not necessary. We add them here for emphasis. We don't have to have them, and the sentence would make perfect sense without them. So let's look at the examples. It says, he himself bought the tickets for the show. So if I took that himself out and I just said, he bought the tickets for the show, that would make perfect sense. So the himself was added in there to add extra kind of emphasis on what he did. Now, if I said he bought the tickets for himself, that is not an intensive pronoun. Sorry, I keep saying program. It's not an intensive pronoun if I say he bought those for himself, because that we need that in the sentence. We need to know that he bought them for himself, otherwise we wouldn't fully understand who he bought them for. So it's only an intensive pronoun when we don't need it there in the sentence for it to make sense. So let's look at a couple other examples. The adults told us not to do things that they themselves were doing all the time. So this actually would make perfect sense without that word themselves there. We could just say, the adults told us not to do things that they were doing all the time. That makes sense. But we put themselves in there for added emphasis. And let's look at one more example. Nadia herself checked to see if the dates were correct. So again, we added that herself in there for emphasis. But we could say, Nadia checked to see if the dates were correct. And it would make perfect sense without that herself there. So just remember, an intensive pronoun is an added emphasis, not needed. I hope this helps.